Next is implementing the Puente Program model from California here in the state of Texas. And it's basically a program that was designed to help underrepresented students succeed in college and to transfer to four-year out of community college. And it was the brainchild of a counselor, Felix Galaviz, and an English teacher, Patricia McGrath, back in California about 35 years ago. They were looking at Latino success rates on their campus, and the English teacher in particular was noticing that while there were a lot of Latino students on her campus, there weren't a lot of them making it into her English 1 class. So she wondered what was going on. She paired up with Felix Galaviz, the counselor, and they poured over 1,000 transcripts, and they found a steady pattern. So they found that Hispanic students on their campus were more likely to be first generation, less likely to seek out counseling, and less likely to be at that college level transfer English class. So they designed the Puente model to address those three areas. So we have mentoring to help with those first generation issues, so that students are paired with a mentor in the community that has been through the college process and can help mentor them through it. Then you have the English class, which is an accelerated model of instruction that incorporates culturally relevant literature, so the students can see their own stories reflected in the literature that they're reading, and that helps with persistence rates. And then we have the counseling component, which deals with not just it deals with things like leadership and all of that, and of course degree planning and advising and transfer, but also personal issues that students are going through. So that's the model that Catch the Next brought in 2012 here to the state of Texas, and so that's the work that we're doing here, is to help students do better in school and persist in college and then return to their communities as mentors in the future. So one of the benefits of the program, I think, is the relationship that Catch the Next has with authors, with Chicano authors, with Mexican American authors here in the state of Texas. So we have a great network of scholars and authors who participate in our professional development for teachers, but also come into our classrooms. So one of the great examples that I have is David Montejano, who came all the way from his teaching in California at the time. He might still be teaching there. And he came to Rio Grande City to present specifically about Rio Grande City and Stark County, where my students were from. So he gave my students a really wonderful overview of the history of their place and their town, and how that played out in terms of Mexican American history overall, and in the state history of Texas overall. And it gave them just a really wonderful perspective on sort of their cultural legacy, where they come from, what their families went through, what their grandparents and their ancestors went through. And they all really enjoyed it. It was such a compelling talk, and it was I was very touched that he went out of his way to come specifically to to our small campus to deliver that talk. And so that's one of the great stories. And I know that all of the teachers throughout the state have wonderful stories the same way. That authors are willing to go out of their way to support our program. And to support our students, and for them to see models like that, historians and scholars and writers and sociologists come in from their same background to say, this is how I succeeded, and this is what I'm passionate about, and it gives them wonderful models to look up to. And so it's great that they have the individual mentor that they're paired with within the program, but it's nice that they also have these kind of, I call them kind of godparent mentors who come in and also support them in that way. What I really love about the trainings that we do is that they're very experiential. So I've been to a lot of conferences, I've been to a lot of teachers' trainings, and what I like about our trainings is that, when I first came into the program, they said, we want you to feel the way your students should feel in this program. So every step of the way, every session, they're modeling always what they hope are the best practices that you'll take back to your classroom. So that same feeling that they develop, we bond with colleagues, people from other colleges and things through our writing. We write, we share, we learn about each other's experiences, and it creates this atmosphere of familia. And so that same energy that carries over from the trainings, what I found in my experience was I wanted my students to feel what I had felt. So when I went back to my classroom, I thought about, not just the techniques, because techniques are one thing, strategies, and you get a lot of strategies in these trainings, but really, how do you translate that feeling? And so really what it is intentional course design. So I remember going back to my campus and thinking, okay, well, that's going to work great, or I can use that activity, or I can try this, and a lot of the times you're trying things out and they work or they don't work, and a lot of my colleagues sometimes are very quick to dismiss things. They say, oh, well, that doesn't work, that's not going to work for me, or I'm not going to try that, or I tried it once and it didn't work. And what I find is, the best advice I ever got about the model was just trust the process. Just keep trying. Even in the effort of trying different things, your students will see that effort, and they'll meet you halfway. And I have found that to be incredibly true.